Oh, it's starting. Okay. So I'm live. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, Hisame Artwork. Today I'm going to continue coloring comic book pages from my comic Niels Feynman's Time Traveling Adventures. Here you can find the comic book series and read them. I also have it translated to Spanish and Chinese. Okay, so let's get started. First I'm gonna do masks for each of the panels just so I can color easily and not worry about going outside of the line. Panel 2 and panel 3. Should have asked. Oh, here they are, panel numbers. Perfect. Jun left them there for me. That is so good. It's a lot more easier to remember what you're doing when you have so many layers. Let's see, sound seems to be working. Stream seems to be working. I have someone watching. Hi there, welcome to my channel. Today I'm working on page 33. Subview, where was it? Windows. Where? Navigator. There it is. Just so you can see on which page I am. I don't really use those tools in the back, so I'm okay. Super sleepy. I've had some bad nights of sleeping. It's pretty hot even here in Michigan at times, and we're not allowed to have air conditioning. Of course, the building administrator, he's allowed to have air conditioning, but the rest of us stupid peasants cannot. It's just kind of annoying. There you go. Cute Irwin. Putting on the moves, but Newton is not fooled. And we should have Niels here in the back. Like, see if I can get a pair of legs from one of the previous pages. And it should be at the entrance. Yep, I have some legs there. But I want a front view of the legs. Do I have any? I'll get some. Where's the clip thing for... because I don't want to get it from Photoshop. I clicked on the wrong thing. Hi Caesar, how are you? How's it going? Hope you can hear me okay. I know if there is a problem with the sound or video. I'm looking for some legs so I don't have to draw them again, but I don't remember where they were. I'll put them later, I'll remember. So I gotta put Niels here in panel 4. Cause he doesn't disappear from here. They just have continuity of space. So this panel here is based on a true story that I kind of placed on close windows. Placed on Irwin. So I had a cat once and I wanted a girl, but unfortunately it turned out to be a boy. And I got the kitten from my uncle, who's a veterinarian. Let's see, previous page I'm at 30. See if I can find a colored page. 32, perfect. So I get my colors right. And you know, when it's a small cat, the testicles haven't dropped yet, so you don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Let's see, panel 5 and and 4. His hand is in 4. And the way to check for the gender of the cat is to check for testicles. If it has testicles, it's a boy. If it doesn't have testicles, it's a girl. Kind of like that. And my cat had only one testicle at the time because it was a teenager. And I have a cousin who's a vet student, or was a veterinary student at a time, and my uncle told him like it's a boy, and he was like, no, I don't think so, and he started arguing with my uncle, who was his professor, and he couldn't find the testicle. So in total my cat got fondled a lot in the search for the testicle. Oh, poor cats. I don't remember if my cousin managed to find a testicle in the end, but I was like super feeling bad for my cat. I was like, stop touching it. It's super weird. I know you're doctors, but cut it out. Well, animal doctors. I mean, even for humans, doctors can be kind of insensitive and weird. I'm like, we're living creatures. A bit of sensitivity and compassion would be nice. I got hospitalized once, and then they brought in some female student doctors, and they were like, oh, you know, take her what's it called, the blood pressure, and check the respiratory system, and oh, she has an enlarged pancreas, go touch that and learn how an enlarged pancreas is supposed to feel like. And it was like super weird and uncomfortable, and I wish they would have asked for permission before turning me into a guinea pig. And of course all of them had really cold hands. Only one of them bothered to keep her hands in her pocket previously to checking my pancreas. So yeah, I'm not fond of medical checkups. I hope I never have to be hospitalized again. Okay, and I want white now for the face. And I want pink for the ears. Now June, when making the line art for this, was much nicer. It's hard enough to take care of humans, even harder with so many species. Yeah, it is. It's very hard, and in my opinion, it's a lot harder because the dog can't tell you, yeah, I'm hurting a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Like, there's none of that feedback. It's like you're trying to consult a person who's in coma and can't answer you back. I mean, you can get a reaction from the animal if you stick the thermometer up its butt. It's gonna say, I'm not liking that, but it's not the most helpful thing to know. Like, it's pretty intuitive. It's not happy you're in there. And also with the diet, like a lot of people get their animals sick because they don't take care of their diet. Like my uncle has complained many times he had to operate on animals, and he would tell the owner, stop feeding him people food and junk food. It's supposed to eat animal food, because a lot of the herbs and spices that are okay for humans are not okay for animals. And for example, lilies can kill kittens, so if you have kittens, don't let them play around in your vase on your table where you have pollen from lilies. Chocolate is not good for dogs. Yeah, I know a lot of people that say, oh, but I fed my dog chocolate and it's doing fine. It's, you know, it's like if the animal doesn't drop dead immediately after you fed it chocolate, oh, then it's okay to feed it chocolate. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's very unfortunate. It's really depressing as a veterinarian to keep having to work with people like this. You know, if it's a stupid person that keeps eating junk food even though they have heart problems, then you know it's their problem. But when they do it to an animal, it's really annoying. Aren't cats and dogs smart enough to know what not to eat? Like, how else do they survive in nature? Well, cats and dogs are not wild animals, so they don't know a lot of things. And also, like, you have stupid people and okay people. You have stupid animals and smart animals and stuff like that. I mean, I know one dog that which panel is this? Oh, it's panel 5. Like, it would eat its own barf. Like, it stole raw minced meat from the barbecue before it was cooked, and that has a lot of spices and other things like that that are not good for dogs. And it stole all of that raw meat, it ate it, it then got sick, it puked it in a bush where the owner couldn't find it, and then it ate its own puke. And it got so sick that it had to go on antibiotics and stuff like that. So that was definitely an example of a not so smart dog. And you know, if it's a kitten, I don't know how smart kittens are. I think I need to get a little bit older before they get it to understand. So yeah, you have to take care of your pets like they're your kids and they don't know stuff. If it smells good enough to eat, it might eat it, so then you have to worry about it getting sick. For example, my cat, I went to the supermarket to get some Pepsi, and I left my fried chicken with garlic and a whole bunch of other stuff, tomatoes and so on, in my frying pan. And I closed the gas, so it wasn't cooking anymore, but it was still hot, and I thought, okay, by the time it cools down, I'll go get some Pepsi and some dessert or something. And I think in total it took me 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to go do the shopping down at the corner store. And when I got back, the cat had gotten into the pot, it stole some chicken, it burnt its tongue, and then was hiding in a corner because it was in pain because it burned its tongue. So again, my cat wasn't the smartest. It stole chicken that was super hot and then burned its tongue. I looked in its mouth, it didn't seem like anything serious had happened, so I was like, you stupid cat. I leave you alone for 5 minutes, and this is what you do. So I wouldn't leave it up to the judgment of the pet on what is good or bad to do. Pets have been bred for their appearance, not their intelligence, usually. So yeah. Let's see if I can get the color for Marie that I think I have to go for the character sheet, and I have the color saved there so I don't get any unwanted variations from page to page. And I'm super happy I finally finished the printed not the printed, the full comic version, so the entire chapter 1 with all the extra content and everything put into one comic, and I'm gonna publish that on, oh, there's another person watching, hi there. I'm gonna put that on itch.io, where I have some other comics as well. And so Maybe that is easier for you to read than on Tapastic. Some people don't like the format of it. I like it. You can swipe left, you can swipe right. I think it's very convenient how Tapastic is set up. With pleasure. Itch is really nice. It has a whole bunch of other stuff there from indie game developers. It's mostly for that. It's kind of like a free version of Steam. Because if I want to publish a game on Steam, I have to pay $100. And since any new game I want to give, it has an error again. Let me restart Clip Studio Paint. Yep, save. Yeah, so I have to pay $100 on Steam to publish anything. I think they may have changed that. I'm not sure. I think you still have to pay that. I think they only took out the Steam Greenlight. But Itch is really cool too. You have a lot of games there. They're mostly still work in progress or some really simple games. Like I haven't found anything on Itch yet that is ready to play and interesting. But you know, there are a lot of nice, friendly, helpful people there from what I've seen, and if you give the game for free, they'll beta test it for you and so on. I can't wait for my game to be finished. Again, there were some issues with the programming, and so it's gonna take a lot longer again. I can't wait for my husband to have time to help me, because I know I can rely on him. When he says he does something, he's gonna do it. So far, I haven't found a programmer to help me. I saved some money for to pay the programmer, but I haven't found anybody serious or capable of doing that. I was thinking of doing that with Itch, but I really don't know. Give someone money on the internet and expect them to do it. Usually you're just gonna run away with your money. I was super lucky with June that she's a serious hardworking person and was willing to help me even though I can't pay her that much. And I found her on 2, and 2 was a really nice platform. Where is it, world? It was supposed to be an alternative to Facebook, but unfortunately it just got overrun with spammers. The idea for 2 was that it would pay for original content, so if you were an artist, you would get paid for views and shares and stuff like that, just like on Tapastic. Unfortunately, 2 collapsed because it allowed everybody to be on there. Tapastic is a bit more selective. I mean, the people are selective on Tapastic, I think, more than the platform itself. So on Tapastic you have to be a comic book writer, and you have to post your own artwork, otherwise you're gonna get closed, shut down. I've never seen anybody post crap there or stolen stuff and get down. I mean, I haven't seen anybody post anything stolen there. I mean, either they get down, they get shut down so quickly that I never even got them, or they just don't go there. They go to other places where it's easier to steal money. And panel 5 is right here, shouldn't be pink. Oh yes, you're right. 5, thank you. Panel 5, where is it? Niels, Newton, and Irwin. So yeah, I think it's getting up to 2 years since 2 got closed, and like we're all still crying after it. Panel 2. It like really allowed for people that did original content not steal stuff from Google and then posting it there to kind of get together. And that's how I found June and Anna and a whole bunch of other friends. And we haven't been able to find any other replacements for that website, and we're kind of sad about it. We tried Rabadaba, it turned out to be a scam. Like, they only cared about spammers, they didn't care at all about original content creator. They did nothing to crack down on that issue, and it's a pretty common problem where platforms don't care about artists, the one that actually do anything. So what ends up happening is that that platform has no people that bring non-spammers, like normal people, to the platform. So it ends up collapsing from all the spammers. Because it offers no quality content, so in the end it just implodes. So in the end, I'm super happy that Tapastic survived. It ran into a snag in November last year. Yeah, something like that, where it had to turn off its payment options. And they told everybody, you know, go to Patreon, support your artists there. The problem with Patreon is that a lot of the audience and fans were, you know, teenagers or young people that just couldn't afford or didn't have the possibility to have a credit card or a PayPal account or something like that, so they couldn't support their artists. But in the end, Tapastic managed to bring back the ad revenue to the platform, so everybody was super happy. And so from Tapastic is where I get most of my tips, and I can buy June some coffee for that and keep making a new page every week. because to do a new page every week by yourself as one person, it's kind of difficult. You don't have time to do anything else, and also when it's just you working, it's easier to procrastinate. Or to not cling to the schedule you've fixed for yourself. So me and Jun kind of keep each other in check, I guess. I always try and make sure she has new sketch pages to work on, and she always finishes everything in time for my live streams. And we keep the ball rolling that way. She started a comic with another friend a while back, but they weren't able to continue it. Life got in the way, and it's super hard to be organized about this, and if you're not making a lot of money out of it, it's hard to stay motivated and keep working. And for comics, like, you need to get at least 3 issues out, so that would be a minimum of 60 pages before anybody looks at it usually. I mean, there aren't some comic pages that are teenage drama, which is kind of like the bread and butter of Tapastic, so those usually get featured, and what happens is people get excited, and you get like thousands of subscribers overnight, and then when you only post 1 page per week or less, they like lose interest and unsubscribe, and kind of bums out the artist, and then the artist gets upset and gives up. Or at least that's what I've noticed. So it is August, and then comes September, and then it's gonna be October, and we're gonna celebrate 1 year of Niels Feynman comics. And I'm thinking what to do for that anniversary. So let's see here. 1st of October 2016 is when I published the first pages, and I would like to do something special. I'm not sure what to do. Maybe release 2 pages at the time, and maybe do a special illustration about it, kind of letting people know it's the first year. I don't know, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Maybe I'll do some hats for the characters or something like that, and for people to use as avatar. There is the app on Facebook. Let's see. I am live. Okay, so let's see, photos. How much time has passed in the comic since the beginning of the story? 8 hours plus maybe 3 or 4, something like that. So like half a day, 12 hours like that. Like the whole comic is going to take place in 2 days, the story of the comic, but actually making all of those pages is gonna be 2 years. So it's gonna be 2 years in 2 days. So yeah, this is it's a sticker on Facebook, and you can put it on your avatar. So maybe I'll do that for Erwin as well. And it's super funny that how long it takes to make a story and how time passes in it. It's I think the most extreme examples have been with Game of Thrones, where the action take place over a couple of years, but to make the story of Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin has been writing since the 90s, so it's 20-30 years, I don't know. Of work in just a couple of years of storytelling. Touch off, I don't want any touch. But you know, it's just how it is. Like a typical animation for Disney takes about 3 years. For the European animation studios, because they have way less of a budget and way less people, it can take up to 5 or even 7 years to put out a 2-hour feature film animation. Less than 2 hours is usually an hour and a half, and the action can take place over years or a day. Like the stop motion animation Kubo took 7 years to make or something like that. And the action takes place over a night. And yeah, it's or I think maybe a couple of days, I don't remember exactly, because they travel from the village to some weird place and then return to the village to face his uncle, who's the Demon King or Moon King or something like that. It's a beautiful animation. Like if you haven't seen Kubo yet, go check it out. It's a really lovely story. I mean, I'm a sucker for stop motion animation. Like whatever stop motion animation I see, I'm generally gonna watch it if it's even half decent. And even if it has a crappy story, like I will still watch it. I don't know, I just have a really soft spot for stop motion animation. I had to do some of it in school because it's kind of like the lowest budget stop motion animation you can do. Is the lowest budget animation you can do. I mean, for 2D animation you need at least pencils and paper. But with stop motion you can just make it out of garbage. Of course, for the professional feature film stop motion animations, the puppets can get expensive. All the Play-Doh, all the sets, all of that stuff can get pretty expensive. But I don't think it ever gets, maybe, it depends on how much effects you use. Because equipment that can handle all of the necessary rendering can get pretty expensive, aside from the cost of the puppets. Okay, where's the backpack? I will open his page. And there's the backpack color. A surprising amount of time, which usually isn't put into calculation, and it should be because it sets a bad precedent, is the time invested in research and in writing the screenplay properly. Like, when things are rushed, a lot of mistakes can sneak in. This comic has proven quite challenging from that point of view. Finding out how Newton's house looked like and where it was, and it went through a couple of revisions. And if I didn't have Google Maps, I don't think I would have been able to make this comic as accurate as it is now. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of mistakes and issues of things that I'm not aware of. We'll probably find out when it gets more popular and somebody that does know what's supposed to be like is gonna point it out. Hey, you know, that's inaccurate. So I'll probably change it then. Luckily, I mean, I hope it will be easy to change. I don't know what was going to happen in the future and where it's going to be published. But at the moment, changing something onto Pastic is super easy. I just click edit and I replace the file, and that's it. And I can even send a notification to the readers, hey, I've made this change. I've made a change, and I can write in the comments below what the change is. But for Lulu, for example, it's a bit more difficult to change. Anything that is printed, is not digital, is harder to change. I have to order a proof copy every time I change anything. Luckily, it's not that expensive. Let's see, Lulu. Like, it's for a calendar is $10. Yeah, it's a bit more expensive, and the book is $4. And I think I get a little discount because it's the artist discount when it's something that you made. They don't charge people, but I already have like the biggest discount I can put on it. So I think from selling anything on Lulu I make 1 cent or something like that. There are a lot of people that like my work, so I wanted to make it accessible to them, but unfortunately when you're poor, even $10 is too much. It sucks. I mean, here in the US, the income is overall higher, so a lot of things seem more affordable and cheaper. Then send me notification. Hi Anna, how are you? Sorry it didn't. That's why I always share on Facebook that I'm going live, just to be sure. You're fine? Good. Glad to hear that. Did you hear the story from the beginning about the fact that Erwin's checkup is based on a true life story? About my cat, my poor unfortunate cat. Yeah, it's easy, it's simple. I have it on Twitter as well, I share there. I try and share in as many places as possible, just so it's easiest for everybody. Like, I like it when an artist makes it easy for me to follow them and their work, so I try to do the same with you guys. Okay, so I wanted a cat. I still have the pictures. I'll show you. Let's see. And this is my cat. This is blurry. Bleh. See if I can find a better one with his face. So I wanted a girl cat, and it turned out to be a boy cat, unfortunately, but by the time I found out it was a boy, he was already adopted, so I like couldn't send him back to the neighbor's yard again. So my uncle is a veterinarian, and he got me the cat from his neighbor who had a whole bunch of cats. And for cats to find out if they're a boy or a girl, you have to check for testicles. If it has testicles, it's a boy. If it doesn't have, it's a girl. Because they kind of look the same when they're little. Let's see if I can find another one. Here he is on the balcony. He fell from there because he liked to sleep on that, and then when he woke up he would get confused and it'll be like stretching and stretch and fall off the balcony. He wasn't the smartest cat. And my uncle gave him a checkup, and he was like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's a boy. And my cousin, who was at the time a veterinary student, he kind of got into an argument with his uncle because, like, oh no, he's not a boy. I didn't find any testicles. And my uncle was like, he has testicles. He has one testicle. And then my cousin was like, oh, let me check again. And like they kept giving him back and forth and checking for the testicles. And poor cat, he must have felt traumatized having his private space invaded like that. So that's why I got the idea for Erwin to get into that kind of situation where Newton's like, no boy cats, those smell very bad, and Niels pretends, oh no, it's a girl, and Newton's like, I don't believe you, and goes and checks Erwin out. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been hospitalized, but I have, and I didn't feel like I was treated like a human being and while in the hospital. Had a male cat with one testicle. He also discovered late he was a boy. He called him lady. Yeah. Oh. And like I have been hospitalized, and the doctors there, they brought in some medical students to check me out, and the girl's hands were so cold. And I was really annoyed because like I didn't feel treated like a human being. I was like a guinea pig, and like, oh, check out her enlarged pancreas. This is how an enlarged pancreas is like. Even if it was female. Yeah, I don't know if Caesar can see your comments or chats. I mean, if you were listening to this or watching this on a phone, you probably don't have the room for to see the discussion. I am streaming HD. Hopefully people can see like the comments, and also afterwards, after the recording, if you want to see what people are writing me. I think it makes it a lot easier to follow the conversation. I also try and like quickly read what you wrote me. So people know what we're talking about. I can't wait to like settle down somewhere, not move ever again. Like I've moved with my house about 11 times or 10 times. I think it was 10 times. When I have to move again. I hate moving. I hate it so much. I don't want to move. Although we'll have to move from where we are now. First of all, it's university property, and second of all, it's really crappy place where we're living. But it was like a temperate place where we're gonna live, and we're like, okay, one more year. Okay, got an extension, we'll stay another year. And it just kept getting longer and longer. They tore out my beautiful garden, all the flowers, and just left it dirt. And that's it. And they didn't even take out the weeds properly. They did such a sloppy job. I swear I am back in Romania. I never moved from my house. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live with my parents for sure. Yeah, I think it's good to move at least once away from your parents. Like, I don't know any situation, I've never met any person that is happy to live with their parents indefinitely. I don't know if such a person exists. Maybe you should get a trailer you can move around all you want. You can't move the trailer across continents. That's the issue. And you can't live with a trailer in the city, inside a city. And it's not that we want to move, it's that we have to move. When you live with rent, what usually happens is owner says, okay, I'm done renting, I don't want to rent anymore at the time, please leave. Or they just keep increasing the rent costs until it becomes ridiculous and you're like, screw this, I'm gonna move somewhere else. Well, I found a good boyfriend, I'll run away from here when I win the lottery. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have steady income, you can't really move out of your parents' house. Who else is gonna feed you? And with the unemployment rate being what it is in many countries, including Italy, Spain, from what I understand, is doing even worse than you guys. Unemployment in Spain was 20% and it was 50% in young people, and it was like close to 100% in rural areas. And I look here around in the U.S. here in Michigan where I live, and if it wasn't for the university that is here and that is generating revenue and people who need stuff like dentists and cinema and bars and everything, like all of it, it's dependent on students. Because there are very few people, and of course the doctors and everything else that have um, salaries and can afford to do more than students can. They're here because they need to teach and take care of the students. So if there wasn't a university where I live, it will be the village. They call it a town, but the town would be as desolate and in ruin as other towns nearby where nothing is happening, and you can just drive by the houses and like see, can they afford uh, landscaping, can they afford nice cars, can they afford a lot of things. And once you leave the town I'm in and you go to a next door town, you notice people are poorer. You hear on the news that there's a lot more violence, gun violence usually. And like, lucky for these people that they have the university that generates revenue. Because otherwise, I don't know what else would. And even though some people are upset with students and they think that education is not worth anything, the numbers point to something else, and too bad for them that they're kind of kicking themselves in the shooting themselves in the foot. No, this opens this one. I want that. Okay. Panel 8. Jobs will get harder to find the more things get automated. I don't think automation has anything to do with that. It's just that people still want jobs that aren't necessary anymore. Here in Italy, find the work is difficult in little villages without knowing someone that introduces you in a work. Yeah. I mean, in Bucharest, I never had a problem finding a job. I also working in advertising and graphic design is a pretty new field of work, so was mostly young people and was a high demand for this. I had a lot of friends that started in marketing or journalism or something else like that that wasn't needed. You know, in journalism, things have changed. People don't want to pay for news anymore. It doesn't have to do anything with automation. It's just that people's needs and wants and what they are willing to do has changed. So they're no longer willing to pay for news. Therefore, a lot of people that study journalism couldn't find work. And also the industry has a big tabloid scandal aspect to it. So any honest, decent person that didn't want to write crap would not be able to find a job very easily. And therefore they had to switch to something else, and a lot of them switched to advertising, you know, photoshopping burgers, making flyers, and stuff like that, which is what I was doing. Making posters, animations. And because I already had the education for this and I had the portfolio and everything like that, I never had a problem finding a job in the capital. Now everybody can do a news, mostly fake ones to clickbait people, yeah. From 9 to 10, I think I screwed up the color. Yep, it's not the right color. But I think if somebody lived in a small village, like the options would be a lot less. In a big city, you can always find someone that needs employees, whilst in a village, a small town, you don't find someone that needs something all the time. Like, there's a lot less people going around having needs. To be a concept artist, what skills are needed? Well, you have to go to art school, for sure, and to be able to draw. It's a lot of landscaping and anatomy required for being a concept artist. And you have to be able to put out a lot of art in a very short amount of time and always digital. I mean, I don't think there are any concept artists that are traditional anymore. I mean, you can find in the older people for sure. The the concept artist for Lord of the Rings were no spring chickens, and they would do amazing art with what they had. But at the moment, you know, transferring files, doing everything, you need to be super proficient with a tablet. And let's see, page 33 to get the colors and to paint like that. Panel 2. Oh, I'm not on the right layer. There we go. Panel 3. Background color. Name this background ink. Panel 4. And background ink. Change the color. Okay, I don't know why the opacity was turned down. But I wouldn't say there's that much of a demand for concept artists. I mean, if you're working as a freelancer, yeah, but in a village or town, the usual simple graphic artist that can Photoshop burgers and stuff like that is probably a lot more needed. And because, you know, like every little restaurant and every little diner shop and supermarket and so on and so forth needs posters, needs banners, needs website design, needs a Facebook cover. They need things like this. Whilst animation studios or movies that require concept art are a lot fewer, and the jobs are a lot more interesting to artists, so the competition is a lot tougher. So if you're not super good at your job at illustrating that, probably not gonna get the job. Programmers, I'd say, are the most needed. Like everything gets programmed nowadays. But yeah, nobody needs churches painted anymore, so that job is gone. Or there are very few churches being built nowadays in comparison to fast food restaurants. I'm pretty sure that now there are more churches being built than ever before. It's just that the population has gotten to 7 billion. So by comparison, there are not that many. You can find jobs, you know, painting restaurants or making posters for restaurants. Nobody needs church in general. Well, people are going less to it because it's just so expensive, and the priests there are pretty phony. They're not behaving as is expected. Like in Romanian, you have the expression, do what the priest says, not what the priest does. And I think that kind of sums up the disapproval of what's going on. And it was probably going on for a long time. Like, I know this saying is pretty old. Panel 5. I call this wall so I don't get confused with the layers. Wall. Don't even remember prayers. Last time I attended the function was 10 years ago. Oh, I still remember them. I had to memorize them. So we had a system at school that there was one of the teachers that was like class teacher, and he or she was responsible for that classroom. It was called diriginto. And my teacher was responsible on one of the years. She was a religion teacher, and she was very interested in saving our little souls and us reciting the prayers and stuff like that. And also my mom's religious. I would like to go inside the church just to battle the Pokemon gym near it. Well, at the time, like churches and synagogues and temples and stuff like that are one of the most beautiful buildings from the ancient world, because religion was just so intrusive into every aspect of people's lives. And for example, in Europe, mathematical accomplishments and genetic and biological research was done in churches. A lot of, for example, sheep breeds and animal breeds and stuff like that, because the church owned so much land and was like a major producer and exporter of wool in the UK and in other places. It owned a lot of land. Like for example in Romania, the church as well owned a lot of land, and it also bought some slaves, and they're kind of the gypsies now. And they got them, I don't know, from somewhere in Afghanistan or Pakistan, wherever they bought them to work the land. And in the UK, the church owned the land, and people lived as tenants on those lands. Let me check, see. There is a documentary about it from BBC, and it's pretty well made. Tudor Monastery Farm. Don't remember if I gave you this one, but it kind of gives you insight into how people lived under church rule and what they were allowed to sell, where they were allowed to hunt, because either lords or the church owned the land, so like people couldn't go and hunt food. People couldn't go and hunt a rabbit or an eel. They couldn't fish in rivers and lakes because it wasn't their property, so it was all owned by the church. And then there was the Reformation, and we had that in Romania as well, where I don't know, it's not, we didn't really call them kings, but they kind of served the function, and they kind of took the land from the church and gave them money and for the land. And it's been a big ongoing scandal ever since. Because the people are like, church, pay your taxes, and the church is like, give us back our land, and people are like, it wasn't yours to begin with, you're a bunch of crooks, and then scandal, scandal, scandal. I think I have somebody knocking at my door. The church in my village was just built as a free hotel where noblemen could stop during their trip from city to city. Yeah, they had inns and stuff like that as well. Be right back. Sorry about that. I don't know who it was. Like, they had a lot of religious tourism in the Middle Ages. You couldn't go anywhere else. They didn't have that many vacation days. Like, it was accepted for you to not work as much on Sundays. And then, if you want a vacation, you can go visit a holy site, and that was kind of an excuse. Be like, I'm not going on vacation, I'm going to pray and be holy. And I think that changed with the Renaissance, and you started having universities that were state-owned, and you had the Royal Science Academy or Royal Science Society, something like that. And people that weren't practicing religion would handle research and livestock breeding and lenses and astronomy and stuff like that that was previously done by priests. But they still had to have a religious title. Like, for example, Newton was a Lucasian professor of mathematics, but he was also a Anglican priest, because it was required of you to have that title. I'm not exactly sure what he had to do, like if he had, I don't know, to pay any contributions or show up anywhere, I'm not sure. But he was a Anglican priest, just because you needed to to have that as well. It can be without God. Where's the panels? Was panel 8, I think. And actually these ones in the back, I'm going to cut them so that we'll be able to see the background outside. Got spoilers everywhere, even in YouTube titles. Yeah, I saw a spoiler. Somebody did a video about spoilers that leaked for episode 4. Did you listen to the music I sent you? Isn't it beautiful? They really didn't cheap out on the orchestra. It sounds amazing. Which panel was this? Gotta turn on the panel numbers again. Too many layers. No, not publishing guides. Panel numbers. Okay, so that's 5. I mean, I could look here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but my brain is lazy. Not already. Not already what? You didn't listen to the music, or what do you mean? Where did... they're split. I didn't want that. I didn't know I can do that. Might be helpful. It is helpful. What did it touch again? Touch off. You learn something new every day. Okay. So this green one. Not listen to the music. I want to hear some audiobook, but I don't concentrate on the story told while I draw. Aw, come on, it's such a beautiful song. Come on, listen to it. Listen. I mean, if after you listen to it and you say it's crap and you don't like it, I'll leave you alone. But the orchestra is amazing. What music? Game of Thrones soundtrack. Oops, I didn't draw on the right layer. I think I colored the wrong layer. Let me check here. So let's see. Game of Thrones Season 7 soundtrack. Yeah, videos. I want on YouTube because I don't know which one is from this small thumbnail. YouTube. Yeah, this one. It's like the Castamere song that is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, this sounds so good. Like they and when they did something, spoiler not telling you because you'll get upset with me, then songs combined. Don't read the title, just listen to the music. uh, okay, I'm on the right layer. Huh, it does sound awesome. The whole series looks awesome. Like, you can say what you want about the story, it has problems, I'm not gonna defend that. There are always issues when doing something that was written into something that's visually and visual experience. And also there are the budget limitations, there's the artistic interpretation because there are other people working on it, and budget restrictions and blah 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 blah. But it's the technical aspects that are kind of standard. You can't really mess around with those and screw it up. It looks amazing, it sounds amazing. I initially started watching Game of Thrones because I like dragons, and also I always watch movies that have astounding special effects because it is something that I'm interested in. Um, like for example, I watched Transformers for the special effects and just to see what the authors did there, and Industrial Light and Magic is just amazing at special effects. And of course the story in Transformers is crap. It's stupid, it's horrible, it's not worth your time. Like, I would skip every time there was dialogue in Transformers, but I did watch the special effects. And it was interesting in the beginning, but they haven't improved on them since, so I didn't even watch the last Transformers because there was nothing new to learn from it. Okay, I'm gonna turn these on back, and panel 4 I turned off some things and I need to turn them back on so I can color them. Four. Which one's turned off? Oh, I turned it on. Oh, okay. It's kind of same beige color, I couldn't tell. I think I can close this. Do not save. Okay, let's see what else I got to color. The background and all the other details, I can add them later. I think I'm done with the base colors. It goes so much easier when you only have 10 panels instead of 12. It would have been another 20 minutes of work, I guess. You knew Ed Sheeran was erased on Twitter for his came and was harassed on Twitter for his came in game. I think you meant to say Ed Sheeran was harassed on Twitter for his cameo in Game of Thrones. I didn't know he was harassed. I don't see why he would get harassed. Like, I mean, there are some crazy people out there, for sure. I will export this now. Now, Photoshop. No, I don't want single layer. I want save as. Okay. There have been some people that have walked up to the actor of Ramsay Bolton. I don't know if you know. I think you should know about him. It is in the books. And they told him, "Oh, you're my favorite character," and like he was obviously, the poor actor was obviously shaken by that and disturbed. Like if somebody tells you that, hey, the Joker is my favorite character, I don't know how enthusiastic you would be about talking to that person. It's a pretty creepy thing. But you know, like for Game of Thrones, there's so many people that are watching it that you get a healthy, big dose of the crazies. And when Euron Greyjoy appeared in the show, because like people were waiting for him in the books for a long time, and when he came to the show, people were immediately upset. Oh, he's not wearing the eye patch. Oh, he's not something like that. Oh, he didn't do this. Oh, he doesn't seem that interesting. And they bitched and moaned for an entire year between the season 6 and season 7 premiere, and they like complained and were like, "Oh, I'm so upset," and they were like cursing and, "Oh, Dan and Dave, you're the worst, you're cancer," and stuff like that. And now that they've seen more than 2 minutes of the character, now they're like, "Oh yeah, now they've changed him, it's a lot better." They're like, "Oh," as if they own the show and their producers are like bowing down to their request or something. Tyrion's actor once was told at the bar, "Please don't die." He was like, "Oh, okay, why?" Yeah, I mean, it can be funny, and as long as it's not too creepy, if I was an actor, I'd be like happy that people don't want me to be removed from the show. Like Lena Headey and Jack Gleason, their life was made a hell because they had so many people that couldn't distinguish between fantasy and reality. And poor Jack Gleason, he was just a teenager, and like he didn't want to deal with that much crazy, and he got death threats and stuff like that from fans. I don't know if you can call them fans. I would call them just crazy people on the internet and in the wider world. And so he kind of quit acting after that. He started his own company of puppet acting, and he did that. And it's just a sad loss because he was a good actor. I've seen him in other um, clips that were put by people to show, hey, you know, he's not a crappy person. Yeah, I mean, it's not that funny when it impacts your life so much and people are being weird. I mean, I know how sucky it was for the actor who played Spock, and what crazy fans Star Trek had, and um, he wasn't allowed, you know, to express his. Um, I mean, it wasn't his favorite role. He was a very good theater actor, and he kind of got forced to, you know, uh, keep doing something that. I mean, being put on the spot, you know. Joker is your favorite character. As long as you don't do what he does, we're good. And I mean, the same problem happened to the actor who played Stannis, where he said, this was just a paycheck for me. I don't care that much about the show," and the people just lost it. They lost their shit. They were like, "How dare you say that Game of Thrones is the greatest, most awesomest thing that has ever happened to this world?" And like, "How dare you say it was just a paycheck?" Like, they went insane. And fortunately for him, he was a grown adult and didn't care about crazy people writing stuff on the internet. And he said that he didn't like the very violent and creepy nature of Game of Thrones, and I think it's very okay for him to have that opinion. He never did any touring or stuff like that, and I don't see why an actor has to be punished for not liking the same things that you did. You should be happy that he played his role so well. My opinion is the actor that plays Stannis, did a very good job with the character. He made him to be the character that was described by so many as being unlikable and being too stiff, and he had a sense of humor, Stannis, and like didn't came out all the time. It was a very complex and interesting character, and I think that, well, I forgot his name, but the actor that played him did him justice as far as I'm concerned, and that he played the role well. But of course, you know, people, some of them are not right in the head, and they were like super upset at how that he didn't love the role and why and stuff like that. I mean, you can't have everybody be the same. Like, Gwendolyn Christie really likes her role and she does a great job with it, and I think people should be happy with that. But, you know, people on the internet, sometimes it can be a bit weird. Also, Kit Harington, who plays, you know, Jon Snow, he's very good with the public. I don't know why people expect all the actors to be good with the public. Some people are just good at acting. Like, why do you want so much of them? For example, some people are upset that Scarlett Johansson doesn't spend all day on Facebook and Twitter answering their comments and talking to them. And well, because she has a life and she has work and stuff like that, and she's supposed to act, not be your pen pal. I don't know. Can be worrying sometimes. People's expectations are. Like for example, Dwayne Johnson is really using social media. He's on there all the time. Sometimes he says things that maybe he shouldn't, like maybe he needs a press agent or something to kind of instruct him on what's it called? When came to him, was assaulted by women who fed him babas, not tomorrow. Poor him. Yeah. Also with Kate Harington, there's been a bit of a kerfuffle because he said he doesn't like to be treated as eye candy, and he feels that the movie industry is sexist towards men, similar to the way it is sexist toward women. And a lot of women were like, shut up and be pretty. Who cares about your problems? Oh, your problems are not important and stuff like that. And was, they were like proving him right that women can be sexist and can view men as property and stuff like that. And it's been for a long time, like it's not something new. Sean Connery showed his hairy pecs when he was 007, and of course Rambo and Schwarzenegger and a whole bunch of other guys and being going around topless, and don't tell me that only the men were interested in that. For Sean Connery, I'm pretty sure that the men weren't watching for his abs, and the reason that they put that scene in there was to increase the female audience. So I always find it funny when people say that Chris Hemsworth showed his pecs in Thor, and women were like, "Yeah, equality, show me that muscle," and I was like, "No, it's nothing new, but I'm not gonna complain." And I have some pink squish beans to color there that I missed. There we go. And erase here. I'm not on the right layer. Marie color. And I have to put the info panel. Why is it not selecting? Ah, because I reset the thing by accident. And keep pressing shift key. And I got my special brush here. Panel 3. Call this wall because I already have a background. No, I want the other one, so I'm gonna go on this layer and select it, and now I can color easily. Anna, did you try the Telltale game version of Game of Thrones? Okay, it's Caesar. Take care. Thanks for joining. Pleasure to have you. Bye bye. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'm gonna close up shop as well. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you next week.